Hi everyone, it's Jessica Russell. I wanted to talk today about iBuyers. iBuyers, for those of you that don't know that term, it means instant buyer or instant offer. These, even if you don't know who the companies are, you've heard it. They have postcards going out all the time and commercials on the radio. It is the pitch that they have is that they're going to buy your house for cash, close whenever you want, never have to deal with showings. So I've talked about this when it pertains to sellers and the pros and cons of going that route when you're selling a home, but it actually affects buyers too. You may be wondering why and how it affects you as a buyer, but consider this. If you are going to look at a property that is owned by an iBuyer, you need to know first how they obtained it. The contracts that we use typically in a sale are not the same as what an iBuyer uses. These iBuyer companies, they have their own contracts, and I've seen and reviewed all the different ones. They all have their own verbiage in them, but one of the big factors is that they don't require a seller's disclosure. So the problem there is that if the seller that has sold it to an iBuyer, if they have knowledge of a problem in the home, they don't have to share that. Well, then that iBuyer doesn't know, and they won't have to tell you about it. So say that they know that there's mold hidden, because everybody says, well, hey, I'm getting an inspection anyway, it'll be okay. But maybe there's mold that they're aware of somewhere in the house, or an electrical problem or a plumbing issue, something that's not easily seen, because an inspector, they can only check what they can see and what they can readily inspect. They can't open walls or rip out cabinets to see if there's a problem somewhere. So they do the best that they can with the access that they have, but it's not foolproof. So if that seller had knowledge and sold it to an iBuyer and they didn't have to say anything, then that iBuyer selling it to you has no knowledge either. And this can actually be things that are outside of the home that affect the property as well. Say that the sellers had notice from the city of a zoning change or road expansion, eminent domain, something that's going to affect their property. And again, it wasn't relayed to the iBuyer, so then it's not sent to you. Whereas if you had bought it directly from the previous homeowner, they would have had to disclose all of this through the seller's disclosure. And when the iBuyers buy the home too, they don't do their regular licensed home inspection. They just have their contractors go out to look at things. So there's no inspection for them to pass along either. So even if there are things that are caught in your inspection, you've wasted time and money going into a contract with this type of property. So not to say that you should never look at an iBuyer property or shouldn't purchase an iBuyer property. You just need to be aware that you're getting into that. And you may want to do some extra due diligence. Be extra thorough when you are researching the house and doing your inspections to make sure that there isn't some underlying thing that did not get passed along, since you don't have any previous knowledge from any previous owners. That extra research can be very helpful, and I've even been able to dig up, for some of my clients, previous seller's disclosures from owners before the last owner. So there are places that we can dig to find some extra information, but you want to make sure that you're knowledgeable. And it's not always apparent, because not all companies that own property are these iBuyers. Some of them are rental companies. Maybe they've been renting it out the last few years. Somebody that has flipped the property. So those are typically done on a standard contract. They've owned the house for some time. Maybe if they're a flipper, they've done work on it. So there is knowledge that they have on the property. So I'm not shooting down all investors that own property. Just specifically in this iBuyer situation where they're using their own contracts and this information isn't getting passed along, that's where you need to be especially cautious. If you're thinking about buying a home, I would love to talk to you and make sure that you have the appropriate knowledge to purchase a home. Just give me a call or send me a message. My number is 817-821-7447. Hope you're having a great day.